Here we're going to be solving 143 reorder list. It's a linked list problem as part of the Leetcode 150. So we're going to start here. We're given a list, but we need to find the middle of the list, not just use two pointers on each end. That won't work here because obviously it's a linked list. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with a fast pointer and a slow pointer. The fast one is going to jump 2 every single time. And how you can imagine that we're going to do that is we're going to use fast.next next, and with the slow, it's just next. All right. And after we find the middle, we'll end up with slow here, fast here. We're going to have to take this part of the list and break it off. But we don't want a null pointer here, like this pointer here. So what we have to do is we're going to point it to null. And then we will take this part of the list and independently solve it somewhere else. And if you're familiar with like reversing a linked list, this is the exact same thing we're going to be doing right here. And we're going to assign a previous value of null and then set current is going to be equal to this guy here. And what we're going to do, if you're not familiar with reverse linked lists, I suggest you go look that up somewhere. And after we're done with that, we're going to bring all this logic, we just did all this jargon. And this is a part that's pretty intuitive. It's going to look something like a little bit like this, like that. But how we're going to have to do that is obviously another two-pointer approach. This time, it's going to be a little bit more what I like to play with here. We're going to set two head pointers, head 1 and head 2. I have basically 3 values here. H1, H2, and the temp variable. First iteration, we're going to set the h1.next to be the temp value, or temp equals h1.next. That'll be 2. Then h1.next is equal to h2. So we're going to jump all of our values here, 2, 3, and null, 5, 4, and null. And that'll be the new list. So h1 here is 1, h2 is 5. And then h1 is equal to h2. Sorry, this should still be 5. And then h2 is equal to temp. Then we go to the second iteration. Now we have 1 points to 5, which is going to jump all of its own values of 4 and null. You can maybe see a pattern forming here. Points to 2, 3, and null. But before that, 5 used to point to 4. So, and h1.next equals temp, which is 4. And then h1 equals h2, which is going to be 2, and h2 equals temp, which is 4. We're going to go to the third iteration, 1, 5, 2, and then we're going to skip all the way to 4, and null. 3, and null stays in the middle. And then before that, as you can see once again, 2 used to point to 3, so that'll be temp. This is our h1 right now. This is our h2. So we need to make that look as such. Now, h2 is equal to, h1 is equal to h2, sorry. And h2 is equal to the temp value. And then after that, the fourth and final iteration, it'll sneak past its own null value, basically erasing this, and point straight at 3, null. And the temp value will switch to null. So null. Because 4 used to point at null. Sorry, I should clarify that. That's why that is like that. And h1 is equal to h2, which is 3. and h2 is null. And our base case here is while h2, so it'll break after this last condition because h2 is going to be equal to null. And then after that, we'll return this whole list and we'll finish our problem. Let's actually solve the problem. And like you saw, we need to first set the pointers here to the head. Step number 1. And then we have to find that middle part. We have to increment fast by 2, slow by 1. So first we have to check if our case still is valid. Fast.next exists and fast.next.next exists. Then slow equals slow.next. Fast equals fast.next.next. And after this part, to sort that right side. And we need to set the value of current so that we can solve that right side. How we do that is we set that to slow.next. So equals slow.next. And then the value of slow.next equals none. Because as you saw in my example, 4 was the current value, and the slow.next needs to be 3 so we can break apart those lists so that we can't have a 3 pointing to nothing that doesn't exist anymore. And then we also need to set that previous value equals none as well. Oh, forgot that. And while cur still exists, we need to do the reversal of the linked list. That's all we need to do. The temporary value equals current.next. Oh man, it's been like a minute since I've done a reversal. I've been saying it's basic. I gotta look. Cur.next equals prev. And the previous value equals current, I believe. I'm looking at my thing. Current equals temp. It's been a while since I reversed the linked list. This is my first Leetcode video in a long time. Then after this, after we break out of that part, we have to bring it back together and solve it. So head equals head, and h2 equals prev, because prev still does exist. And the last value prev will have in our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 example will be 5. Then while h2 still exists, we're going to set the temporary value here is equal to h1.next, h1.next equals head, oh no, not head, h2, h1 equals h2, and h2 equals temp. Now let's submit it, let's run it, and let's see if we got it going. Boom, first try, baby.